What is up, Jamily? This is JamiroFan 2000 here with yet another episode of JamiroFan Talks About, where I basically talk about the 25-year musical history and most recent and past topicality of the band JAMIROQUAI and their music. As you remember, the last episode I just recorded talking about the Automaton tour cancellations that have recently transpired over the last 3 to 4 months. I thought I'd record another JamiroFan Talks About talking about the first 4 to 5 months of the Automaton album cycle for JAMIROQUAI. This has been one of the most impressive promotions of a JAMIROQUAI album I have seen to date. I've talked about how stellar the promotions of this album have been for God knows how many videos I've done on my channel. But I just thought I'd do a video talking about just reflecting on the first 4 to 5 months of the album cycle for Automaton for JAMIROQUAI's 8th album. It's been the JAMIROQUAI's move within the Universal Music Group umbrella from the first label they signed with was Executive Music Group, which is a subsidiary of I believe Epic Records, but that was their first album under a Universal album deal, and that promotions was terrible. It was the most terrible promotions of a JAMIROQUAI album. But then they moved to Virgin EMI, which was a very, very smart move, because the people they have promoting this album, absolutely beautiful. The promotion of this album have been the best I have ever seen with any JAMIROQUAI album. I'd have to say the last time I remember JAMIROQUAI album this crazily promoted was probably the follow-up to Traveling Without Moving, Synchronized. Sony must have spent an arm and a leg and whole body on the promotions for Synchronized, because Synchronized was especially here in the United States, Synchronized was one of the most saturatingly promoted albums because of how well Traveling Without Moving sold here in the United States. In the United States, Traveling Without Moving back in 1996-97 sold between 6 to 7 million copies, which is the best-selling JAMIROQUAI album to date. And when they did the promotions for the follow-up, Synchronized was everywhere. Mobiles, hats. They were giving away mini disc players at all record stores. You could listen to Synchronized there on a mini disc player and actually win one. But the social media approach of Automaton promotions by Virgin EMI has been absolutely pitch perfect and excellent, absolutely excellent. Not to mention the interactions with fans. I don't remember another rare thing about this promotions of Automaton. The record label and the A&R team that have been promoting this album had interacted with the fans really, really well. They've done a really, really good job. And they took the approach of going at social media like a fork. And that's how you do promotions of anything on social media. You don't just do, all right, we're going to promote the album on Facebook and Tumblr exclusively. No. Social media kind of fragmented a lot of internet users' online communications. Now, instead of people, see, back in my day, back in the early 00s, there were no, social media didn't really exist. There was, of course, there was Facebook, but it was still developing. It was still developing a user base. So back in the day, everyone would go to forums like my alma mater, the JamiroTalk International Fan Forums. JAMIROQUAI fans would meet there and dispense information, talk about JAMIROQUAI and releases and albums. At least for the last 3 or 4 JAMIROQUAI album cycles, that's how JAMIROQUAI fans communicated. But these days, social media has completely inflated the whole thing. So, as I said, users are fragmented. They're not on one specific platform. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're on Tumblr, they're on Instagram, and it goes on and on and on and on. The sensory overload that is social media. But as I said, the record label did an amazing job communicating on all of these social platforms to maximize exposure for JAMIROQUAI and Automaton. As for the critical reaction, the fan reaction to Automatons when it came out in late March, I say the fan reaction to it has been overwhelmingly positive. Every fan that I've talked to loves this album. Me, you saw my 2-part review I did on my channel here on my YouTube channel. It was an amazing, creative, experimental, a bit of a groundbreaking album for the new sound of JAMIROQUAI. As for the critical reactions to this album, I'd say overly positive, not gushingly positive, but people, the music critics liked the direction that JAMIROQUAI was going with the EDM, with the electronic experimentation. a lot of them noting this has got a lot of mirroring with the Virtual Insanity single back in 1996, which Automaton is par with, and the whole album, every song on the album is excellent, absolutely excellent. For the touring end, the Automaton tour, we got two very, 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 very strong live performances so far at the beginning of the Automaton tour. As I discussed in the last video about the Automaton cancellations, those two concerts that we got on March 28th at La Salle Play in Paris, France, and then the following March 31st at the Roundhouse in London. This on-stage performance by JAMIROQUAI, as much as the album seems to have progressed the new sound, the live performance is gone freaking light speed. It's gone light years, you might say, to use a JAMIROQUAI song analogy. The live performance, especially the lighting fixtures they used for this tour, absolutely amazing. JK's hat is almost the centerpiece of this new live performance by JAMIROQUAI, but we did see some new variations of old JAMIROQUAI songs. Not to be the set list. This is the best live set list from JAMIROQUAI in at least 5-6 years. And they did some, in the past they've done funked up versions of old JAMIROQUAI standards like All Right and High Times. They did little funked up retoolings, but these new retoolings, especially the new version of Emergency on Planet Earth from the Automaton tour, absolutely amazing. And I actually got a retweet from Paul Turner, saying that they need to release this as a single because it's so damn good. So, at least for the fan recordings I got out of these two gigs, absolutely spot on, absolutely amazing live performance. But it's this, personally for me, this first 4 or 5 months of the album era for Automaton has been one of the most surreal times for me personally as a JAMIROQUAI fan over the last 25 years. I understand what David Rowe went through. Actually ended up actually working for JAMIROQUAI Limited in the past on their official websites and stuff. That amazing, those moments of clarity when you actually start contributing to the community and you see a reciprocation back from the band. David Rowe worked on 2 or 3 of the iterations of the official JAMIROQUAI website. We don't know David Rowe. David Rowe has got the longest running JAMIROQUAI fan site on the internet with Funkin', the Funkin' site. And David has actually worked with the band on their, like I said, the past iterations of their of the official site for different album cycles, and this was notably during Synchronized and A Funk Odyssey. But I understand. My position. I went full bore into covering this album, into loving this album, into promoting this album, and being way more active in the Jamly than I originally was, because I originally did moderating on JamiroTalk and a little bit of social media activity, but that was what I mostly did in the past. But I started this YouTube channel to cover the new JAMIROQUAI album, and little would I realize all this amazing fan interactions and receptions and the news that came and how amazing everybody has been, especially JAMIROQUAI HQ. They have been very supportive of this channel. They have retweeted some of my videos, and they've, like I said, their interactions with the fans is one of the most cool things that have happened with this new album promotion cycle. So they've been interactive with me on social media with my YouTube channel and all these videos, and helping to inform the Jamly of all the latest news pertaining to the band, JK, and to everything that was happening with the album. So I'm just happy that I've done my fan civic duty. But this first 5 months of Automaton has been absolutely, in summation, the first 5 months of Automaton has been absolutely exciting, surreal, and just very, very cool. We did have some bad, in addition to the tour cancellations for the Automaton tour, we did have the unfortunate passing of JAMIROQUAI founding keyboardist Toby Smith, and that really hurt a lot of people in the Jamly, at least old fans like me. But we all decided to grieve in our own time and to reflect on Toby's invaluable composition and lyrical contribution. And like JK said in his partial eulogy to Toby Smith, there would be no JAMIROQUAI without Toby Smith, and I think all JAMIROQUAI fans completely agree with this. And Toby was a great songwriter and will greatly be missed. And he should be remembered by all Jamiroquai fans in their own time, whenever they decide to grieve. But yeah, we also had the untimely passing of Toby Smith during this time, and luckily we all are going to get over this in our own time. But yeah, this has been my episode talking about the first 5 months of Automaton. Who knows what the next 5 months or the year? I'm guessing another year and a half of touring for Jamiroquai for this album support. So who knows what's going to happen with Jamiroquai in the next 5 months. But I'll most certainly record another episode of JamiroFan Talks About to reflect on the next 5 6 months or a year of what happens with Jamiroquai, their touring, their album, the album promotions, and everything. But in summation, this has been a very, very strong album to start with. So I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a few things about what has happened over the last 5 months, or 4 or 5 months of Automaton. And be sure to check the channel here for more videos. Be sure to check out my Automaton Week video series, playlist series here on the channel to see all my unboxings of all the releases from Automaton, from the double gatefold release, the Japanese release, the 10-inch record store day Automaton clear vinyl release. Be sure to check those videos out if you've not seen them here on the channel. There are these releases. Another thing about this album cycle, the album releases have been some of the most finely produced physical releases of Jamiroquai albums to date too, especially the limited edition mint pack. Absolutely amazing. And not to mention the Access All Area site that is accessible by people that bought the limited edition mint pack by a code. That is a great website. Yeah, it's based on Tumblr, but a great website to check out here now and again to keep up with all the social media feeds concerning Jamiroquai HQ, Automaton, and the band. So as I said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll hopefully see you again really soon with another JamiroFan Talks About episode here on the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel. Bye, everybody.